What's up, and welcome back to another video on Streaming Star. Nickelodeon SpongeBob SquarePants is one of the most popular cartoons all around the world. The show has been around for more than 2 decades, transcending generation to generation. It's not just the children, adults are fans of the show as well. Just like many other cartoons, SpongeBob also had some subtle jokes that were totally not meant for children. This made them inappropriate and insensitive too. So I sought to look these moments up and take you down to that memory lane. As a kid, you might not have understood what was going on, or why not give it a shot. Here are the top 10 moments on SpongeBob that were offensive and not for kids. But before we get on with our video, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you can get the drop on all the latest videos in the future. Let's get to it, guys. Number 10, Patrick and SpongeBob's freakish faces. Unlike any other group of friends, SpongeBob and Patrick make hideous faces at each other just for fun, which is okay and nothing wrong with that, right? But have you really looked at these faces? They're unapologetically gruesome. SpongeBob and Patrick with their original faces look very cute, but when they try and make faces at each other in one episode, their faces freeze and look absolutely disgusting. They have to make it through an entire day with their gruesome faces, and when Sandy tries to help them by putting them in glass containers, it comes nowhere to their actual faces. In the end, Mr. Krabs and Squidward also get their faces frozen, and much like SpongeBob and Patrick, they look grotesque. Seriously, if kids see this, they'll really have a hard time sleeping at night. Number 9, see you next Tuesday? In the episode Boating School, SpongeBob takes a boat driving test with Mrs. Puff, who is his teacher. Although Mrs. Puff wants SpongeBob to pass the test desperately, he manages to wreak havoc. He panics when he sits at the driver's seat, and due to his reckless driving, the boat ends up crashing and being chiseled more than a dozen times. Not only does SpongeBob cause property damage, but he also endangers the life of his dear teacher, who tries to keep her cool and remain kind towards SpongeBob. But that's not all, folks. He walks away from the damage nearly unscathed, bidding bye to Mrs. Puff and then ending with the line, "See you next Tuesday." Now you wonder what's so offensive about that phrase, right? That phrase has often been used as an insult for a very inappropriate word. Basically by removing S from C and then replacing it with the letter C, and then taking all the first letters of the phrase, the word that is spelled out isn't very kind. Yep, that's how SpongeBob repaid his driving teacher. Number 8, Patrick having no conscience for pets. SpongeBob lives alone with his pet snail Gary, whom he deeply loves and takes care of. So when he decided to visit his grandma far away, he thought who could take care of Gary in his absence. Seeing Patrick around, he says why not and hands Patrick his beloved snail. Patrick, being Patrick, manages to screw up the whole pet sitting thing. Patrick literally drops Gary in front of SpongeBob, but that's not all. He forgets to feed him, ignores his presence thinking he's doing just fine, and even tries to set him on fire. But then he tries to bathe him using a fire hose. What the hell, Patrick? And in his naivety, he tries to dry the poor snail off by sprinkling salt. Salt, for crying out loud! He could have died, man! Kids watch this show. What if they attempt the salt thing on actual snails? That's straight off encouraging animal cruelty, man. Number 7, TV time. On a regular day, SpongeBob would be watching Bikini Bottom news, but in the episode Shoes Untied, SpongeBob is definitely not watching that. His TV screen displays a dancing sea anemone, which is fine until we see SpongeBob leaning in on his seat with his eyes fixated on the television screen and a smile that looks very naughty. You might think that it's okay, right? But no. To make things not so subtle, as soon as Gary enters the room closer to SpongeBob, SpongeBob switches the channel at the speed of light, saying that he was just finding the sports channel, implying that he was actually watching something inappropriate. Way to go, Nick. What a tactic to teach the kids who watch this show. Number 6, why is there lingerie? Plankton, envious of Mr. Krabs' life, uses a machine that transfers himself to a different life. He switches places with Mr. Krabs and is now the owner of the Krusty Krab, while Mr. Krab acts like Plankton, constantly trying to get the Krabby Patty formula. The alternate universe also calls for Plankton to be dressed and, contrarily, Mr. Krabs to be fully undressed. Now, I don't mean it in a bad way because crabs don't wear clothes. Okay, whatever. So in the hopes of getting Mr. Krabs off Plankton's back, Spongebob starts shooting clothes at him through a cannon, and none of them hit until, of course, a certain piece of female lingerie takes a hold of Mr. Krabs' body, making the scene very, very inappropriate for children. I mean, if it were my children watching, then I would make sure to get the channel off my cable. Number 5, they weren't balloons. The love SpongeBob has for Squidward is undying. He's expressed it several times. In one episode, where SpongeBob tries to make a Squidward figure by balloons, they didn't look like balloons at all. Yes, there were a naughty reminder of a certain something your health instructors at high school urge you to use after your dates. I mean, they really didn't look like balloons. And again, aren't most balloons kind of stretched bell-shaped from the bottom? So why would you use these shapes in a children's show? Number 4, Sandy's public nudity. Plankton decides to steal the Krusty Krab formula once and for all. To execute his mastermind of a plan, he steals Sandy's fur to trick the employees at the restaurant into giving him his long-awaited recipe. As he struggles to get past SpongeBob, Sandy is on the search to look for her fur. She is constantly made fun of at the streets, not to mention she's only in her bikini now. Nevertheless, in the end, Sandy manages to find Plankton and her stolen fur, and just as she's about to put it on, the authorities arrest her for public nudity, as though it was her fault. And also, they let Plankton go because identity theft is a joke, right? Number 3, bars of soap fall during shower. While trying to give Gary a shower, SpongeBob teaches him some things. He also offers him 2 bars of soap and then winks in a kinky way, telling him not to drop them during the shower because he would have to pick them up. Now, children will obviously not get it, but SpongeBob was referring to a common phrase in prison because dropping your soap and reaching out to get it might just screw you up and lead yourself to unwanted contacts from people. Yes, it sounds disgusting. I mean, what even? Number 2, Squidward's psychotic breakdown. Everyone is aware of SpongeBob's love for Squidward, and he constantly makes efforts to try and please him, but only ends up screwing up everything. In an attempt to give Squidward his best memories, SpongeBob kidnaps him and arranges a party for him filled with paper cutouts of SpongeBob, clearly missing the memo of Squidward despising him. Annoyed and frustrated by his neighbor's troublesome actions, Squidward slips into a psychotic fit and tears every paper cutout to shreds. The portrayal of Squidward's depression and his manic episodes would be triggering for many people. How can they miss that? Number 1, mental health is no joke. Squidward is often portrayed as depressed. He is often very tired and suffers from clinical depression. There were scenes of him trying to do suicidal things, for example, locking his head in the oven, which I might add is how many Jews killed themselves during the Nazi regime. He also tries to hang himself with a rope, but these were just some fallouts. The episode made us believe that Squidward might just go for it, but he doesn't. There could have been many ways it could be death, but this was just triggering and insensitive. Death and suicide shouldn't be joked about. I never really liked SpongeBob. I mean, it was just okay, but this kind of seals the deal for me. Tell us what you think about the show after this new knowledge. This brings us to the end of our video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Do hit us up with a like if you did, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon to catch up on all the latest videos we put out in the future. Until next time, take care and goodbye.